Hey there, Cancer. Welcome to your reading for this is your October bonus reading. You have this Mars card, it says motion, and you have this Uranus card, it says change. What's really funny is next month in November, we're going to have Uranus opposing Mars. And so, it's interesting that those two are kind of like coming out together. And Uranus opposing Mars can be like a little bit of a challenge in some ways, but at the same time, it doesn't have to be bad. I think that sometimes Uranus kind of gets a bad rap in astrology because Uranus really goes both ways. It can be good and it can be, it can be a challenge. But the thing about Uranus is that it's the awakener. So, really, is that really bad if you're being awakened to something that can lead to a better life or can lead to improvements? I would say probably not. So again, I wouldn't worry about it too much, but definitely something to think about. You start here in your current general energies. We're obviously doing a Celtic cross, and you start with the Seven of Wands. Seven of Wands is kind of like being more open to changes and being more open to different opportunities in your life. I feel like you get the Seven of Wands with me a lot, Cancer. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure you do, because I'm pretty sure that I have been saying to you for months now that you're probably ready for something that you think you're not ready for. And so I would pay attention to that. He has this shoe and this boot on, and the story of the card is that he feels like he had to rush out of his home to defend his position at the top of the hill, and he feels like he's not ready. But really the whole point of the card is that he's as ready as he's gonna be, so he might as well kind of take action on whatever it is that he's taking action on. I do feel it could be time to be more a little bit more flexible as well, not only this month but for the next couple months. Again, November for sure. There might be some opportunities that you don't see as great, not that they're bad, but there just might be some opportunities that could lead to change if you're more flexible. Your crossing energy is a Six of Wands. Yeah, being seen. It's funny that you have these Seven of Wands and then you have your crossing energy, Six of Wands. The crossing energy can be what hurts you or helps you in a Celtic cross. And the Six of Wands, the Seven of Wands, he's trying to hide between those Seven Wands. The Six of Wands, he is standing out. He's being celebrated by the people around him. And so clearly that's something that you should be focusing on. Don't be afraid of standing out. Don't be afraid of getting attention for the things that you're, working on or doing here, Cancer, because it will probably lead to a victory. Again, your outcome is the Eight of Pentacles, which is pretty good. You have good cards here. I mean, you have the Ten of Pentacles, Chariot. I think that there could be an opportunity for you to have this victory or success in your life, but it probably does require being seen or standing out or getting attention, whichever the case may be, and I would allow it to happen. Next, in the area of what's on your mind, you have two cards. You have the Judgment card and the Ten of Wands. Ten of Wands can be about hard work or carrying burdens. Judgment is like a wake-up call or an awakening, like we said, with Mars opposing Uranus, and you have the Mars card and the Uranus card. So there definitely could be an awakening happening for you this month of October. And the Ten of Wands is interesting because I feel that some of you could be thinking that something is going to be a lot of work or there's moving parts, right? And yeah, there probably are. I'm not even going to sugarcoat it. Sometimes I do feel the Ten of Wands is a lot of work, but it's something that's worth it. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like you need to start somewhere is really what I'm getting. Really what I'm getting here is ADHD energy. I have major ADHD, and it's sometimes if something is too much, if it's too overwhelming, I just won't do it. Which is probably bad, right, Cancer? But what I would say is I feel like if you're dealing with anything that is mentally, taking up a lot of time, this is coming up in the area of your thoughts, where there's a lot of things you have to get done. He has his home in the background here, so really the Ten of Wands is a good card. He's about to have a harvest. But at the same time, what I feel for you, Cancer, is it's there is something you want, but you have a lot going on, so it's obviously having the time to get what you want could be a little bit of a challenge. I almost feel like this Ten of Wands is encouraging you to break something down into steps that you take so that you can get to the finish line. Again, he needs to get to the finish line here, which is his home, so that he can have a harvest. And, the reading itself is kind of saying to me that you need to get to a finish line here. You know, you're very close, but it's like maybe you need to break down the steps, or maybe you need to, kind of chunk things out into parts or into pieces so that you can get it accomplished faster or in a better way. Next in your foundation, you have the Six of Cups. I always say that the Six of Cups is a very good energy for Cancer. It's a childlike energy. It's playful. It's fun. Heart-based as well. These are all things that Cancer loves. Some people say it's a card of the past, but it's a card of innocence and nostalgia. It just represents thinking about the past. I feel like some of you are like hoping for a turnaround in your life, is what I get here intuitively, but the card itself is saying you're playing it too safe or something. Sometimes I always say that, this girl here, this right here always reminds me of like an oven mitt, that you use to get something hot out of the oven. And this is not accurate tarot, but, sometimes I just feel like the card itself can say that you're playing it too safe with something that you desire. Whatever it is, doesn't matter. Could literally be anything. You have the Ten of Pentacles next, or, well, I should say in 2 steps, but you have the Ten of Pentacles here, which is basically everything you want and desire in your life. So, I feel that some of you are maybe playing it a little bit too safe. They're protected. They're inside these castle walls. They have this guard over here who's protecting them. And I do get that feeling with the Seven of Wands and this card, that it's almost like something is too protected in your life, or maybe you're trying to protect yourself. And I'm not saying, protecting yourself is a bad thing, but, I do feel you could maybe take some bigger risks or make some bigger moves in whatever it is that you're doing, and maybe not play it too safe, right? And I feel doing that will really kind of make the difference. Next, in the area of your past, this is the energy that you're moving past. You have this Let It Go card and this Imperfect Harmony card. Yes, it's like everything is working out as it should. And we all need to let go of the past. I mean, we had Pluto go from Capricorn, your opposite sign, to Aquarius, which is the death of establishment. So, pretty much every single person on Earth right now is being asked to let go of something that took a long time to build, which is scary, right? So, I think we're all being asked to make big changes that maybe are a little bit scary or nerve-wracking or whatever you want to call it. And if we let go of those things and we find, true freedom, then we will be successful. But we definitely all are being asked to let go of something. You have the Chariot, which is you showing up here in the past position. The Chariot is, of course, a victory or a big win or big success. He's charging away from this city that's in the background here, and so he is setting himself apart. I definitely feel Cancer is one of the signs that will be setting themselves apart over the next many years. When you think about it, you have Jupiter in your sign right now. Next year, Jupiter will go into Leo, but it's going to retrograde back into Cancer. And then also Uranus. Uranus is going to be in Gemini until 2033. Technically, in 2032, Uranus will enter into Cancer. Then it's going to, for a very short period of time, then it's going to retrograde back into Gemini. But in 2033, basically it'll move into Cancer. And so I know that is years away, right? But definitely you are going to be making changes, over these years. It's like, I always say, I think people think astrology is like a hard start or a hard stop. It's like, but it's not, it's a flow. It is a spectrum, whatever you want to call it. And so it's like, you're learning a lot now that you're going to like cement into your reality in 2033. And so I feel a lot of you are definitely setting up to kind of make some big changes between now and then. And you will make them between now and then. It's not like this is going to take until 2033. It's like some of these changes you're going to make right now. Some of them you're going to make next year, and then 2027 and 2028. It's like you're just in a time of change. And that's pretty much it. But, I feel like you're kind of like shaping up your life for something better. You have the Ten of Pentacles coming up next. Next, in the area of your of the very near future, you have this official person. It says person in uniform, dominant, battle, official work, rules, regulations, obligations, responsibility, and control. You have the sad news card. It says bad news, inconvenient truth, delusion, disappointment, emotional, self-pity, sadness, quarrel, and setback. I wouldn't worry too much about this because, again, this reading looks really, really good. I do feel like some of you maybe need to let go of something that didn't work out in your past here. I also feel you need to be willing to break the rules. That official person card says rules, but you have the Chariot here. The thing about the Chariot is that maybe he's leaving that city behind him because everything is the same in that city. The rules are the same. Everything, it's like, everything is going, his life is going to be the same. Everything, goes a certain way. And there are certain rules that he has to follow. But again, maybe he wants to create his own life or his own direction. And then you have the Ten of Pentacles. Ten of Pentacles is basically your ultimate vision for your life. It is everything you want. Those 10 Pentacles form the tree of life. And so I feel that maybe right now your reality does not match your vision, right? And this is probably what you are working towards with the Ten of Pentacles. I feel that the readings have really been encouraging people to believe in themselves more. Kind of Uranus and Taurus. Again, next month in November, Uranus will retrograde back into Taurus. It's retrograde right now, but it doesn't reach Taurus until next month. So, but you could be feeling this energy now, and or you will be shortly. So I think a lot of you could be seeing parts of your life that don't match the reality you desire. Uranus and Taurus wants us to create like true freedom in life, wants us to build and leave a legacy. Taurus loves security, and the Ten of Pentacles is kind of the most secure card in the deck. It's a total freedom. It is a solid foundation. It is, happy home, happy family. There's all these generations of the family on the card. It is like the whole picture, the big thing. And so I feel a lot of you, it's like part of me feels that you are seeing what you don't have, but another part of me is like, that's actually a good thing because that will allow you to build what you're trying to build here. And, I really don't necessarily think that's a bad thing. There is a big focus for water signs on money this month, I do feel. So it wouldn't surprise me if a lot of you were focused on improving your finances or doing something to improve your finances with the Ten of Pentacles. Next, in the area of your outcome, you have this Law of Attraction card and this Take the Lead card. Yeah, a lot of your readings pretty much say take the lead. And you have the Seven of Wands, which I think is also, the Seven of Wands doesn't really represent taking the lead, but I do feel it is encouraging you to take the lead because, it's like, and also the Chariot, I think both of those cards are basically saying, it's time to leave a comfort zone, or it's time to leave certain rules behind in life, and, it's time to figure out what you truly align with just in general. And, basically, don't be afraid to mix things up is kind of what I'm getting here. It is a good time for the Law of Attraction. I would go a little bit more general because we have Neptune retrograding into Pisces in the middle of the month of October. And so with Neptune retrograde, I think that from a manifestation standpoint, it's kind of better to focus more on the energy. And I'll tell you what I mean. Like if you want money, for example, it may be in it. Let's pretend that you love affirmations. It would be better, instead of saying like, oh, I'm having an affirmation like I make $1 million, right? It would be better to say I'm the type of person who attracts wealth, right? Like it would be a little bit better to go a little bit more general with the things that you are thinking and doing with that Neptune retrograde into Pisces energy, and to keep it a little bit more open. And that's what I would do here. Next, in the area of the next few months, you have the Ace of Pentacles, which is really good. This could represent big opportunities coming in for you. The Ace of Pentacles is a big opportunity. Usually we have to nurture this opportunity into existence. There is a garden right here. The garden basically says that the Ace of Pentacles is a seed that we have to plant, and then we have to like water it, feed it, fertilize it, give it sunlight, all this other stuff. And if we do that, then we will be very successful. It's kind of funny because I'm getting a message that, you are going to be catching yourself over the next few months. And, it's like, I feel this is a good thing. It's almost like you're catching yourself doing things, right? And this isn't like bad, but it's like maybe normally you would be saying like, let's say you are working on a project and you want to take a day off, which is perfectly fine. By the way, like don't work yourself to death right now for sure. But it's like you could be catching yourself and saying like, no, the old me would maybe take the day off, but maybe I could just do one thing. And again, I am definitely not encouraging anyone to like force themselves to work right now because again, Neptune and Pisces, if we force work, then it's not going to work. So I'm definitely not suggesting that you like force yourself to do things, right? But what I am saying is that you might be saying to yourself, well, I could just do one thing, and that would be and that would be fine. It's like maybe you're feeling lazy or tired or like you need to recharge your batteries, but if you did one little thing, to keep the momentum going, it really wouldn't be the biggest deal in the world, right? And so it's like balancing things out. Same thing in love as well, or basically anything else. It's like I even see you catching yourself in love. Like, if you are dating a person right now or whatever, it's like maybe normally you would do something like, test the person or something like that. I feel like you could be catching yourself and being like, well, that's like the old me. I don't really need to do that anymore. So I don't know. Something like that is popping into my head. It's like you're nurturing things differently, which is probably a good thing. Next, over in the area of your closest relationships, this is all relationships in your life. You have the Queen of Swords. I do feel like you are getting more clear on your relationship to things. Again, this part of the reading could be your relationship to your business, to your career, to your health, to your spirituality, to people, to everything. And, I feel like you're getting much more clear on your relationship. I also feel like you're getting more clear on your, availability, right? She has her hand up, but her sword up as well. She's willing to accept something into her life, but if something isn't right, she's going to cut it out very quickly. And so I feel like you are kind of making decisions more quickly. If something doesn't seem right, if a person doesn't seem right, you're probably trusting it. And you're just removing things that are, toxic and not right, just in general. I also feel that this could be a lot of communication. The swords cards can sometimes represent receiving a lot of communication or people trying to communicate with you. But I kind of feel like you're just being more picky about your communication, but again, not in a bad way. I feel this is a good thing. It's like, if you know that you can't handle a person right now, you're probably just going to be like, no. And if you can, then you will. Next, in the area of your future feelings, you have the Ten of Swords. Again, I don't feel bad about this at all. Ten of Swords, it can sometimes be like a blessing in disguise. He is making the same symbol right here that the Hierophant is making on his card, which represents a blessing. So a lot of you could be realizing that something is a blessing in disguise, or some sort of ending from your past is a blessing. You have that Let It Go card, and again, I feel like you could just be letting things go, just in general. And is it a bad thing? No, really. I feel like some of you are trying to fill time, as well as also the message that's popping into my head. Sometimes I think if we're bored energy, is maybe a good way for me to put this. It's like one of those things. My grandpa, he always used to say to me when I said I was bored, he always used to say to me, only the boring get bored. And I used to be like, you know what? How about you shut your mouth, right? But he was right. So it's like sometimes we need to fill time. And I don't know why that's popping into my head, but I feel not even just this month, but I feel over the next few months, there might be moments where you just are trying to fill time. And I feel this is saying you need to fill it with this right here, your outcome. Your outcome is the Eight of Pentacles. He's focusing on one thing, and he's paying attention to what he's doing. And he is trying to complete one project, but I feel it would be a good month for you to have something that takes up time even, but in a good way, some sort of health improvement. This doesn't have to be money. It could be, you could be working on a project, a business, an idea, something like that, but it's almost like the universe is giving you time, and I feel like you need to use it wisely here, Cancer. But again, it could be something personal. Maybe you spend an extra hour a day doing some law of attraction stuff, or whatever the case may be. But I would pick something and focus on it. It does seem to be a good month for money for water signs, like I said. So again, I would take advantage of that, especially because we have Mercury going retrograde next month in November. If you're thinking about doing something to make more money, I would start now, and don't wait until the end of the month, right? So let's see where this is going for you here, Cancer. With the Seven of Wands and the Six of Wands, you have the Seven of Cups. Too much overthinking, for sure. I think with that Seven of Wands that you could be overthinking something that would be really good for you. So, if there's something you want, or something you're trying to create or do, I would just keep doing it with that Eight of Pentacles, and I would keep putting the work in. The Seven of Wands, like I said, he is maybe feeling like he's not ready. Seven of Cups is because of overthinking, or because maybe you're giving yourself too many options on something, and maybe you need to give yourself less options. With the Ten of Wands and the Judgment card, you have the Three of Wands, another card of taking the lead. Two of Wands and Three of Wands kind of are very similar. Not that you don't have the Two of Wands here, I'm just saying. most people consider the Two of Wands a card of taking the lead, but the Three of Wands also can represent you kind of expanding and taking the lead. Jupiter in your sign, you are definitely going to be expanding or doing things to expand over the next several years. Even though, again, next year Jupiter will leave your sign, it doesn't really matter. You've been learning the lessons all along, and now you're going to put them into practice. So it wouldn't really surprise me. With the Six of Cups, you have the Seven of Pentacles. 777 could be an important number for you, but the Seven of Pentacles, it says, is the juice worth the squeeze? It's a change in direction. He's looking at the pentacles he's grown, and he's saying, is it worth it or not? A lot of you are doing a lot of that this month, it looks like. You have that Let It Go card, the Ten of Swords, the Ten of Wands. The Ten of Wands really is the card. Like, I would break down what you do. You write it down on a piece of paper and say, like, okay, this is worth, like, this thing that I do is clearly worth it. That should go on a separate list, right? And the things that aren't worth it, you should be removing, right? And I feel that would be a good exercise for you here, Cancer. With the Chariot, you have the Two of Cups. Two of Cups is like you and your higher self. It can be love, but again, I think this reading is all about you, basically. And the Two of Cups can be you and your higher self. I feel your higher self has been urging you to kind of move in new directions, do new things. And it's like, even with that Six of Cups there, I think some of you could be realizing that things that used to bring you joy don't bring you joy anymore. That could be where this whole boredom thing that I was getting on that Ten of Swords is coming from. It's like, obviously, it's like, as you get older, it's like some things you enjoy, some things you don't anymore. And I feel filling that time with things that are now fulfilling to you nowadays, things that are important to you right now, could be a good thing for you to do. And maybe you don't know, right? People say to me all the time, I don't know. I don't know what brings me fulfillment. And I'm like, you have to go find out, right? You have to go try new things, and you have to find new things to enjoy, right? And that's what I would do with that card. With the Ten of Pentacles, you have the Lovers, a little bit of love here. So, again, if you want it, this could be a love connection coming in for you. Ten of Pentacles is a really good card for love. It can represent everything you want and desire. So, if you want love, there could be a solid connection here. With the Ace of Pentacles, you have the Strength card. Yes, the Ace of Pentacles, again, has to grow. It's something that has to be nurtured into existence. Like I also said earlier, the Strength card is about believing in yourself. This Lion represents her inner voice, or her inner critic, and she has to be the one to take control of its voice. So I feel for a lot of you, you have to believe in yourself that you are good enough to have that Ace of Pentacles opportunity that's coming in for you, whatever it is. So I would really work on that. With the Queen of Swords, you have the Queen of Swords. Basically, the universe saying I meant what I said, right? So I think would be a good time for you to pay attention to, like, your feelings, especially when it comes to people who are, like, wanting your attention or wanting to communicate and things like that. I would make sure you're only communicating with the right people, not the wrong people. That will probably be best with this card. With the Ten of Swords, you have the Hangman. Hangman is about seeing things from a new perspective. And again, like I said, I think that, he's put himself on pause. And so again, maybe you've been on pause for too long and you don't really know what you enjoy any longer, or maybe you don't know what can bring fulfillment. But I think if you, like, put some energy in to, like, figure it out, that you will figure it out here, Cancer. So I would spend some time figuring out, like, what brings you joy, what brings you happiness, all that other stuff. With the Eight of Pentacles, you have the Eight of Swords. Yeah, like, don't create a prison for yourself, for sure. Like, I don't think this is a bad reading, but Eight of Pentacles says, like, don't, with the Ten of Wands, I kind of feel it's saying, like, don't put too much on your plate. Don't create a prison for yourself with that Eight of Pentacles. Like, it's almost like the reading is saying you need to focus on making things maybe easier, or, like easier, maybe, or better, and that's what I would focus on. You have this Wealth card. Yes, definitely a good time for money for water signs. So again, if you're going to be creating a new job for yourself or a new business or whatever, don't make it too much hard work, like, try to balance it out. And also, I think you need to realize that you don't have to do things in a complicated way. You have this Gong card. It says an exciting event. Sure, definitely could be something exciting coming in for you if you want. This could involve other people. I would be like, again, with the Queen of Swords, I would be picky with your situations. I would make sure you're spending more time with people who are definitely make you happy, or who lift you up. You have this man card. It says dealings or relationships with a man. You have this mountain road. It says you're on the road to success. So there you go. You could be on the road to success. I feel you are. You could be attracting a person that will bring success. You have this dark woman. It says dealings or relationships with a woman with dark complexion or hair. You have this pineapple. It says reconciliation. This could be like a past friend or something. I would be careful with that Queen of Swords. And also your next card, which we'll talk about in a second. But again, if you have a toxic person from the past or something, or someone who caused issues, obviously I would avoid that. You have this bat. It says take care, enemies are working against you. I don't really think there are enemies working against you, but as I've said to you before, we had Mars retrograde last year into this year in Leo. We had Mercury just went retrograde basically in Leo. Next year, Jupiter goes retrograde in Leo. You know what I mean? It kind of extends that initial Mars retrograde. So, I would be careful of anyone who doesn't seem right. I feel like you're going to see it with that Queen of Swords, but I would pay attention. So, pretty interesting here, Cancer. Looks decent. I don't know if it's not really bad, but I definitely feel you're kind of moving things around here. So, thank you for being here. Make sure to leave a like, drop a comment. Really helps me out. And definitely enjoy your month.